So anyway, I gotta turn up and it's off. Homework for this weekend is Module 5. That's the content. That's the homework. That test is actually, you guys are gonna have to go through there and study that, because if you don't, you're probably gonna bomb. We'll go through it real quick. Vertical milling machine. Conventional milling machine feeds flat and angled workpieces into rotating cutting tool. Basically, it's the opposite of a lathe. Base and column, foundation of machine. Your quiz, I peeked at it. It asked you about some of this stuff. The saddle is right here where it connects with the machine. So that's your Y. Table is your X. Knee is your Z. The quill could also be Z, especially if you have a digital readout on it. I mean, we don't really use ours for that, but. The head is basically the motor and all this stuff. Ram, turret, table locks, saddle locks, table crank. Some of this stuff's really self-explanatory. They like to ask you about the saddle and the knee on the test, and then you've got your base. I know you guys can do split screen, so that might be what I would do. Knee moves Z axis. You guys already know that. You've done it. Saddle moves Y. Table moves X. Turret is the top of the column. Ram allows the head to move and lock into position. Oops. Oh, crap. That's just the knee clamps. You can actually lock the knee. Most of the time we don't, because the weight of it will hold it down. That being said, if you screw it down and you get it where it doesn't have any tension on it, you're better off to screw it back up like a half a turn and take the slop out of it, especially on those machines. That's your X locks for the X axis for the table. Here's your protractor and your scale. This can actually turn all the way around. That hole in the back, does anybody know what the hole in the back's meant for? It's meant for broaching. Back in the old days, they'd turn them all around and they'd put a broach in there. I've actually broached off the spindle itself before. I made a tool that fit in a colic and broached with the spindle itself. Broach is when you basically use it like a scraper, like a chisel.
I didn't know when this was due. So
somebody was being a smart aleck at work and told me I couldn't make square corners with a mill, so I made me a broach and I chucked it up in a colic and made square corners. Yeah, I'm that guy. That contains mechanisms for holding and driving cutting tools. Optional features, dial readout, you guys have that. Power feed, you guys have that on one axis. Power drawbar, you guys don't have that, and those things are sweet. This is the power drawbar right here. It's a little electric motor that turns the drawbar for you so you don't have to. All you do is push buttons. High, low, neutral. Here's what actually goes on inside. The drawbar goes all the way down through here, and it's got threads on the ends. That's why I always tell you guys to unscrew it like 2 or 3 turns, tap it so your tool falls out and this breaks loose, because if you unscrew it and you get those threads back up here and then you hit it, you're going to mess up the drawbar. because the drawbar is softer than a collet. Speeds, just don't turn it while it's not running. I think at least one of you knows what this is. You should. You can lock your table in the middle, so the thing you can raise the knee and make something to a certain depth. This is actually for boring. It makes the head down feed at a certain rate of speed. A lot of those are broke. That's how you set the speed. And this is either up, down, or neutral, depending on what position it's in. And this is how you engage it. And then when it gets to the bottom, this handle will click back over where they are now, which is about over here. Angle the head side to side. You have to be careful going side to side if they don't have safety pins, because they will fall. Front to back, you guys did that already. Digital readout, auto feed. There's your awesome little, some of them have a little green button right here on one side where you have to hold the green button down and then you have to hit in or out. And that'll take your tool in and out without having to reach up on top and crank. They are a little temperamental. Either you don't get your tool tight enough and they move on you like some of you have, or your end mill moves up or down. Usually it's down, unfortunately. Oil. Some of the newer mills, even the older ones, like the Easy Tracks at Stanley, if this is empty, the machine just won't even run. It won't come on. It protects itself. So, anybody got any questions? I know that was like the ultimate crash course, especially since nobody's awake. Let's see. I think I lost the drawing. Surely not. Oh, there it is. So, somebody tell me what this means. Chance, tell me what that means. Actually, it says 2 campers at 30,000 at 45 degrees, so it would be this one and this one. This hole here says 750, and what's the tolerance on that? I think you guys have to ream that hole. 3 decimal places. Pretty sure Justin got you guys a reamer to ream that hole. So you gotta be able to hit 5,000. It's really easy. You gotta drill it undersized though. And the bigger drill bits have to be more under. You have to leave more material. Somebody tell me what this means.
The top one?
Yeah, the top.
Depth of 25. They're not through holes.
Yeah, they're not through holes. The total depth at 0.5, plus or minus 1. So you can check it with, like you could take, I wouldn't take a 125. Actually, you're gonna have to read that to get it to that. So it's talking total depth of 125. So if you go in with the drill bit and you drill it 20 thousandths over, and then you go in and ream it to 125, I would just go down until my reamer touched the steel, and then I crank the table up. You can put it against the stop and stop it so it's at the top, and then raise it up, and then crank the table up 125. Do them both, and you should be right on the money. But you can put in like a 124 gauge pin and check it, see how deep it is. Measure the gauge pin and then see how much goes in the hole. This one, 516 sad, down 550 thousandths max, full diameter. So you can't go any farther than this, because it says max. And then 3/8 16 UNC 2B down 420, and then it wants an 82-degree chamfer of 420 in diameter. So they're making it like it's for a flathead. This would be the diameter of your chamfer. That's the depth of your thread. They're trying to mess with you. They're getting ready for the NIMS. The NIMS block's a lot like that. There is one thing this doesn't have that the NIMS block does, so we might do it on the bottom. The NIMS block has a chamfer all the way around. So I might get you guys to flip that upside down and we'll chamfer the bottom or something, so you guys can practice. Because that part I can do whatever we want with it to a point.
With the tapping on that, since it's a blind hole, I'm guessing we don't want to power tap, right?
No, you can power tap the blind hole. Just don't put it in the chuck too tight. Make it spin with the chuck before it breaks. Yeah. That's one of those you can put it in there, and if it's not tight enough, you just tighten it just a little more. And with them being bottom threads, you'll have to go back in there and hand tap your bottom threads. But you can at least tap the original ones. That way they start straight. To me, it's easier to break a tap hand tapping than it is in a powered machine, because when you hand tap, you tend to do this stuff. Or you put too much torque on one side and none on the other. I mean, if it's a 1-inch tap, you're not going to break it. But I spent almost 8 hours at work one night hand tapping 1-inch holes with before it was over, I had almost a 30-inch crescent wrench. And it sucked. But to get them to go straight, I took a mag drill and put a center in the mag drill that I drilled a hole with, and then I used the center in the end of the tap so I keep it straight. So I got about half the tap in the hole, and then I just cranked my life away. One of the day shift guys took all day and tapped like 3 holes, and I tapped like the other 12 that night. Like you lazy little bums. So, anybody got any questions? Other than